r/Nosleep. Posted by u/FluffyBoy2. I found a job at a mansion located at a place we weren't allowed to know. This is how the first 2 days went by. Day 1. No. I flipped through pages after pages of the newspaper, trying to find some income while having my summer break. It's not like I wanted to find one, it's my pushy parents who wanted me to find one. I'm 16 and although it was summer break, I also have summer school. I continued to flip through pages after pages looking for the best and finally gave up, but before that, I decided to flip just one more page. I released a big sigh and flipped the page. Did they really? As soon as I flipped the page, an advertisement hit me in the face. Well, probably because on the 2 pages, it's just that one advertisement. They rented 2 pages, just to advertise. I figured that it must be something important. The Hutchinson's family is welcoming anyone from the age of 16 to 18 to work as a servant. Just for one day, you will earn up to $500. However, it is required that you must sleep in a room we made and you will be able to eat the best food and all of the best facilities will be available for you to use. Please call this number to apply for the position. This job will last for 1 week only. Under the text was a phone number and below that phone number was the picture of a big mansion-like place. I rubbed my eyes to make sure that I wasn't hallucinating. I wasn't. It was a dream come true, being able to eat, sleep and getting paid just for being a servant. How hard could it be? Also it's top food and a room in that big mansion? While I was dreaming about my future there, I quickly realized that I needed to call them fast or the chance will slip through my hand. I dialed and after it rang for a good while, a voice from the other line picked up. The Hutchinson's family, this is Butler Kevin speaking. It was the sound of a man. Hi. I was wondering if the job is still open for people to apply? How old are you? I'm 16. As soon as I said that, I could hear the sound of someone writing something on the other side. By tonight, please come to a lonely place and our drivers will be there to pick you up. And then he hung up. Was I accepted? I didn't know at the time. Also, they said they will come to pick me up? I didn't give them my address? How would they figure where I would be? A lonely place sounds more than suspicious but since it was a public advertisement so it must have been approved, right? I walked downstairs to tell my parents that I got a job and they seemed quite happy. I also told them that it would require me to stay at the place. They were fine, probably because they just wanted me to have a job and stop being dependent on them. I gathered all of my clothing and personal equipment in a suitcase then proceeded to get some rest until it was 8 p.m. When my alarm rang, it was 7 p.m. I took a quick shower and changed my clothes. I said goodbye to my parents and went to a lonely road near my house with no cars passing by at the time. After waiting for a while, I could see headlights shining into my eyes. It was a big and long car, limbo-like. It drove up to me and the door opened. I came inside and there were already 9 other people around the same age as me sitting in the car. I sat down between 2 other guys. Did they only hire teenagers, guys? I talked to the guy on my left, asking how did he find the job. I was really stuck with money so I looked for some part-time jobs online in order to, get money for my next year of school. You? I didn't want to say that my parents forced me to find a job so I just say, in need of money, found the job while looking through a newspaper. That's when I realized how rich the person must be. Paying $500 per day for every person sitting in the car, have enough money to give us a ride in such a car and the amount of money needed to advertise on a website in both newspaper pages isn't small. Suddenly, I felt sleepy. How could I feel sleepy? I had some rest not a while ago. But I couldn't resist it and finally gave in. I woke up, sleeping on a bed. I was greeted with an unfamiliar ceiling. I sat up and I was in a big bedroom. My luggage was placed under a small desk which is next to the desk. The phone was still with me, everything was. Then, I heard someone ringing a bell outside the room. I opened the door. It was a long hallway with doors on both sides, all of them started to open and 9 other people who I met in the car came out of each room. Standing at the end of the hallway was a middle-aged man in a butler outfit. Attention, you all have arrived at the Hutchinson's mansion. The room you just woke up in will be your bedroom until you don't work here anymore. For today, there will be no work for you to do, the purpose is to guide you around the house. And his words were cut short. How did we get here? I passed out on the car. One of the guys asked. That's because for privacy reason, this place is not for the public to go in. But since you servants could come in from the outside, we aren't allowed to let you know where exactly this place is. Anyway, let me continue. I'll introduce you to the Hutchinsons. Mr. Hutchinson is the head of the family. He got to this point in his life just from bare hands. Mrs. Hutchinson is Mr. Hutchinson's wife. She is a powerful woman with lots of power in her hand. They don't have any kids, but they are planning to have one. And, listen to this part carefully, I'll go the rules you need to follow while working here. If you don't remember them, don't worry. There will be a note on the table inside your room. The old butler then went through all of the rules, but since I just woke up, I couldn't understand a single thing. Now, please get back to your room and change into your servant's uniform. They are in the cabinet. We will start in 2 hours. The butler clapped and then we all went back to our room. He was right, on the table was a small note. The Hutchinsons rule. Working here in the Hutchinson family is not easy. There are many rules for you to follow and must not break at any cost. 1. Always wear your servant's uniform when it's working time. 2. Do not disturb the Hutchinson family when there's nothing important. 3. Always be clean, polite and have a good attitude when working. 4. Do whatever the butler and the Hutchinson told you to do. It's your job. 5. Do not open your curtain when it's midnight until 5 a.m. Do not leave your room during this time period either. 5a. If you did, close your eyes immediately. If you open it, we won't be responsible for any damage caused to your body. 5b. If you see anyone outside of the window, even if they're familiar, do not say anything or look at them for too long. You are inviting them into your room. 6. Never walk into the basement unless you're asked to. If you're asked to go down into the basement, do not walk through the iron door. 7. After 10 p.m., no electrical devices are allowed besides the equipment in the house. This means no phone, tablet, etc. 8. If you bleed, please don't walk into the room with the words pets on it. If you do so, you won't be able to bleed anymore. 9. If you hear a woman's giggle, don't investigate the sound but act normally. 10. If the light went off in any room you're in, use the matches stored inside a matchbox which will be placed in the pocket of your uniform. 11. If you feel hot, immediately use an ice cube and rub where it is hot. Not doing this will result in that place becoming crispy and rotten throughout the time. 12. If someone is asking to come into your room from midnight to 5 a.m., do not open your door. They will take away your existence. 13. If you are in a dark place and see a pair of eyes looking at you, don't make eye contact with it. That's all for now. Any new rules will be explained by our butler. Day 2. After day 1, we all started to work at the big mansion. The uniform was black and has buttons. There was also a long black pant too. A weird thing is that even though we didn't do anything on the first day, we were paid $500 in cash. It's basically free money in a house tour. A new day started and I woke up with a slight headache because I wasn't familiar with the place yet. I changed my clothes and walked out of the room. From the schedule, my first mission was to set the table, so I went into the dining hall and placed 2 plates for the 2 owners of the mansion. Half an hour passed and Ems and Mr. Hutcherson sat down in their places and ate breakfast. After they finished, I cleaned the dishes and utilities, then another person started prepare the plates for all of the servants in the house. We all had a luxury meal which provided us enough energy for the whole day. I moved on to my next task, which was cleaning the outside of the mansion. Well, sweeping the leaves to be exact. The sun was shining on my eyes and it was making me sweat. The whole place was huge. There was a big garden outside the main house and next to the garden was a maze, which was also huge. Everything, including the mansion, is surrounded by metal walls. I also wasn't able to find a door that could look like an entrance or exit. After sweeping all of the leaves and dumping them into the bin, the only task I had left was to stay next to Mr. Hutchinson for the whole day. Nothing interesting happened until 2 hours left before my shift ended. You, get down to the basement and grab me a bottle of wine. The one in the wooden box at the corner of the room. From what I've heard, the lights in the basement go out very often, so according to the rules, we need to light a match when the lights are out. I was standing in front of the basement door but realized that I lost my matchbox. At that point, another servant, named Josh, walked by me. I asked him for his matchbox and he gave me it immediately. I walked down the basement and turned on the flickering lights. It was huge, so I had a hard time finding the box. I walked around for a while and finally saw the box. It was in the corner next to a metal door. The lights then flickered and went off completely. I took out my matchbox and lit it up. It was a brand of match I've never seen or heard of before. As soon as I lit the match up, I felt a finger moving away from my shoulder. Was there someone moving their hand closer to me without me noticing? I turned around and threw the match forward. Nothing but darkness. I lit up another match and went to the box to grab the only wine bottle in there. I grabbed it with my only empty hand, then turned around to walk back to the stairs. But when I turned my head back, pit-pat. Something ran across the lit match, which I threw on the ground, making the match snapped and the fire on it was off. I could feel my face becoming pale. I held on to the bottle of wine and the lit match on my hand, then sprinted out of the basement. When I finally got up to the main hall, I used some water to make the fire go away, then threw away the match. I walked to Mr. Hutchinson, then gave him the wine bottle. I asked him, "Mr. Hutchinson, about the basement, is there something down there?" He poured a little bit of wine into a glass. He put the glass up to his mouth and took a sip. "No, there's nothing down there." I didn't want to ask anything more because I was afraid that would be disrespectful. At night, while I was about to sleep, I looked out of my curtain and didn't notice my phone ringing, telling me it was already midnight. Because I saw Josh standing outside. He was staring at me, dead in the eyes. Ring. I was snapped back again thanks to the sound of a bell. I noticed that my phone was going off, then I turned it off. Ring. It was coming outside of my room. I walked out and everyone else came out of their rooms too. The butler was ringing a bell. He then started to speak in a clear and loud voice. "Due to health problems, Josh, one of the servants will retire soon." Then, he stopped midway, then continued, "And because there were too many things going on today, the money that you will earn today will be added to tomorrow's paycheck." Although that was what he said, I clearly saw Josh standing outside of the room, looking at me.